Rishi Sunak is an idiot. He really is, and I get that he's had a horrible weekend and it's only been one win for him the entire time, losing over 400 councillors. So he's going to be looking for any positive spin that he can possibly put on to stop his backbenchers ripping a new one. But this is just pathetic. What he's done is he's jumped on some very dodgy analytics from someone who's not very good at analytics, I'm assuming, and translated the local election poll rating and projected that over the nation. So I've got two clips to show you. One, I've got of him trying to fool everybody, himself included I think, into believing that it could be a possible hung parliament at the next election. I mean, there's no chance of that happening. And then there's got an expert analysis from Ipsos who's going to explain it in a lot more detail and why Sunak thinks that you're stupid and going to believe him, and he's probably trying to convince himself that if he waits a bit longer for a general election, he might actually have a chance of winning it. In reality, the longer he waits, the worse it's going to be for him. He should have called the election at the same time as the local elections. Now he's got fewer activists, councillors, etc., and when it comes to the general election, because they've all lost their seats. If he waits till autumn like he's planning to, then there's going to be more boat crossings over the summer and not enough flights to balance out the numbers. You're going to be heading into a winter crisis with the NHS, waiting lists are going to go through the roof, and it's just going to feed more into reform, which is splitting their vote. He needs to pull the plaster off and get it done.
Disappointing weekend for us. The result of the next general election isn't a foregone conclusion, and indeed actually is closer than, or the situation is closer than many people are saying, or indeed some of the opinion polls are predicting. And that's why I'm absolutely determined to fight incredibly hard.
The Prime Minister is warning people of the risk that Labour will end up in government, propped up by the SNP and the Lib Dems. But is that a realistic prospect? We can speak this morning to Ben Page, Chief Executive of Ipsos, the polling organisation. Morning, Ben.
Good morning.
Just try and help us make sense of it all, because we had this projected national vote share over the weekend from the local elections showing a 9-point lead for Labour, which is substantial but much smaller than the average of the national polls over recent months, which have been around a 20, even 25% lead for Labour. So what is the reality?
Well, I think the national polls are telling you the national reality, and the local elections tell you what was happening in local elections. So very crudely, you can't, unless you're being slightly devious, read across from local elections directly to national ones.
So when Rishi Sunak says the UK is heading for a hung parliament, is he wrong?
I think it's for the birds, to be honest, at the moment. If you look at the swing in Blackpool South, 30% or so, you look at these local election results, which we haven't seen anything of this kind since just before Labour won a landslide in 1997. And finally, you look at Keir Starmer, and Keir Starmer isn't particularly popular, but it's always compared to what? If you look at how people rate Keir Starmer as best possible candidate for being Prime Minister, with Rishi Sunak, he's got double the score of Rishi Sunak.
While Sunak is sticking to his plan because he thinks his plan is working, he's probably convinced himself it's only 9% lead and not the 20% like all the other pollsters are saying. So he's not intending on changing anything. His own party thinks that he should make changes, and even if that means it's going to make it worse, because Suella Braverman was on the airwaves yesterday, going on a bit of an unhinged rant against her own party. And if you want to see that bizarre moment, then you need to watch the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching, don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time.